1794. The future of France is here, and it's rough. It's real rough. Citizens of Paris were executed for the crime of being nervous about all the executions, and I didn't even get to mention the casualties of the ongoing civil wars in the provinces, or the thousands of people killed by mass drowning.
Shh! Do you hear that? That's the sound of forgiveness.
That's the sound of people drowning.
Jean-Baptiste Carrier.
That is what forgiveness sounds like. Screaming and then silence.
Things continued to get worse until eventually a certain national barber threatened to execute the entire government, and the government finally decided it was time to do something about him. So hip hip hurrah, but now what? This video is sponsored by Magellan TV, a documentary streaming service made by filmmakers for for you! There's a lot of chapters in Napoleon's life I've had to cut out in the interest of time, and one of those is the story of how he caught the attention of the Committee of Public Safety, which 9 times out of 10 is a bad thing, but not when you recapture the city of Toulon. I am once again recommending Warriors, which has got to be my favorite series on the platform. I'm so bummed I've covered 5 out of 6 episodes already. They have one on Napoleon that does such a good job of capturing the tension of the Reign of Terror and the ways in which Napoleon was a real ordinary guy, even while puffing himself up as a hero, and it's crazy to think that this was just a few years before becoming emperor. You can watch it for free with a 30-day trial at magellantv.com/JackRackham, and while I'm here, they have an excellent documentary on the Battle of Trafalgar as well. Cheers! Well, first things first, they had to dump all the blame onto Robespierre. Can't have anyone thinking there was more than one person responsible for the actions taken by a republic, after all. Just imagine if the people discovered that the government was still run by the same people who voted to execute the proudest voices of the revolution. No. Instead, the government is going to rebrand once again and put 5 directors in charge so that no one person can go off the deep end and take all of France with him. But without a clear leader at the helm, the new government had no idea what direction to go. But maybe centrism is okay for now. Everybody just wanted a break from Jacobins and monarchists killing each other, as long as they got food on their plate. Oh, except the Directory removed the price cap on food, so prices skyrocketed, which is the exact thing that got this whole mess started in the first place. The government tries shutting down the political clubs so people will stop getting so political about starving to death, but all they managed to do is piss off everybody on both sides. Guess what, folks? It's the start of the revolution all over again. Tired of your old 1789 to 94 revolution? Why not trade up for the newest model? It's got everything you've come to expect. Riots in the streets, massacres in the prisons, civil war, and for a limited time, ask about this dude named after a Roman plotting an underground proto-communist conspiracy. It was a day like any other when a bunch of pissed-off royalists from the provinces came flooding into Paris, led by this pirate-looking dude who is famous for making owl noises. The director Paul Barras hunkers down with the rest of the directory in the old royal palace, biting his nails because if the last 18 uprisings are anything to go by, he's currently sitting in the least secure place in the city. The revolution, or what's left of it, could die here and now. He has no choice but to leave the future of France in the hands of a young commander who happened to be in town.
Yer! Vive le roi! Vive le roi!
Kaboom! It was a massacre. Overnight, this low-ranking officer who'd been spending his time writing crappy self-insert romance novels became a national hero, and Barras goes, "Mr. Bonaparte, you have saved the people of France! Here, you are from Italy, right? Well, Corsica, but your accent says enough. Here is an army, we need you to invade Italy. Bon chance!" Well, luckily, it turns out Napoleon Bonaparte was an alright general. His basic strategy was to win the war not with his men's bayonets, but with their feet. He moved incredibly quickly, scavenging for food along the way, allowing him to get in behind the enemy and force a huge battle when they least expect it, thereby knocking one of his opponents out of the war before their allies ever got the chance to help out. But the real secret sauce was his PR. Napoleon wouldn't have made it this far if he simply won battles. He made sure everyone knew he was an inscrutable genius who balked at authority and led his men to glory no matter the odds. And in Italy, he would bring triumph to the motherland and forge a new era in Europe. In reality, he was tactically brilliant and incredibly charismatic, but he basically improv'd his way through the war and just took any opportunity that looked good to him. Napoleon chased the Austrians out of Italy and went, "I'm here. I've got all the guns. Hey, who wants to make a new country? Kinda did the same thing in Egypt. Nelson shredded his entire fleet, so Napoleon goes, well, I guess I'm stuck being the king of Egypt for a while. And then he straight up ditches the war in Egypt and goes home without telling anyone. Then shows up in France like, what's up? Check this out. Huge victory, the biggest. Don't read the newspapers. And, well, Egypt might not have been a success, but frankly, the rest of the War of the Second Coalition has been an even bigger failure in his absence. Everybody Napoleon liberated in Italy got recaptured by the Austrians, and the French government is collapsing. In fact, as soon as Napoleon arrives in Paris, one of the directors pulls him aside to say, hey, these guys are on their way out. I say we make a new government. I need the goodwill of the people, and I need the army. You've got both. What's in it for me? Directory goes bye-bye. Consulship goes hi-hi. I'll need someone to share power with. I see. Just you and me splitting a power. Well, there would be 3 people, but... What? 3 people? Yeah, first consul, second consul, third consul. No third consul. What do you mean no third consul? That's not what a consulship is, that's a triumvirate. Well, what's wrong with a triumvirate? Lots of people have made triumvirates over the years. And did it ever work for those people? No, it never does. One person always ends up becoming a dictator or an emperor, you know, they delude themselves into thinking it might be different, but it might work for us. I'm in. And so, one fateful morning, Napoleon's brother Lucien tells everyone there's a Jacobin uprising about to take place and everyone needs to take shelter, and who better to defend the government than the man who saved the revolution. All he'll need is complete control of the armed forces in Paris. But as the hours stretch on and Napoleon's general arrests a couple of directors, Congress starts to realize it's not the Jacobins who are planning this coup. In an effort to regain a hold of the situation, Napoleon strides into the lower chamber with an indomitable spirit, and everyone inside goes, "Get him!" And they beat the crap out of him. Lucky for Napoleon, his brother gets him out safely, and while the men inside are passing a motion to make Napoleon an outlaw, Lucien lays him down at the feet of the guards and cries, "My boy! Look what they've done to my boy! Congress is being held hostage by conspiracists. They must be disbanded for the safety of France." Okay, you owe me a big time. The coup goes according to plan, and boy howdy, who would have thought? One of the consuls ended up with significantly more power than the other two, and guess who that would be? At which point, Napoleon speedruns his way to monarchy. "Hey everybody, who thinks I should be consul for life? I'll know who you are if you say no." The best part comes after Napoleon survives a couple assassination attempts and thinks to himself, "I may be the supreme leader for life, but if I died, people might try to put the Bourbons back in charge, right?" "Right you are, sir. Your safety is of the utmost importance." "But you know what might stop that? What if, hear me out, what if my family were written into the Constitution as the supreme leaders for life? Sounds a lot like a king." No, as an emperor, totally different." "I guess it sounds better than anarchy. Just don't overdo it." "Behold, your new Augustus, the heir to Charlemagne, Emperor of France, King of Italy, and master of all Europe. From this moment hence, I am France." Time for more war. After that last assassination attempt, Napoleon had his men charge into Germany to kidnap some old French duke who wasn't even involved and plop him down in front of a firing squad, which was very not cool, and the rest of Europe has a bone to pick with him. This is their chance for revenge. The Allies lost so badly, the Holy Roman Empire exploded. Just poof, 1,000 years of history, gone. Now to take care of Britain. Oh, wait, no, fourth coalition. Prussia wasn't happy with Napoleon making satellite states in Germany, so it's time for revenge. Okay, Napoleon, maybe if we don't shake up continental politics every time we win a war, they won't keep coming back for revenge. Napoleon crushes them before anyone else has time to intervene. Back to Britain. "Your Majesty, our navy is in no position to win a naval battle anytime soon after the Trafalgar incident." Cowabunga! Not to worry, I have a plan. We shall conquer the ocean on land. All we have to do is force everybody on the continent to stop trading with Britain, and they'll choke. Sir, I know, it's a big, it's a ballsy. It just might work. Except it didn't. Portugal immediately noped out of that one, but hey, Napoleon's crushed his enemies before, what's one more? Two more. Two more? We're at war with Spain. L'Espagne is our ally! Was our ally, monsieur. As you're well aware, the situation in Spain was turbulent. The king was unpopular and his son replaced him, no? Yes, but they both came to me for help. And so you chose the son who was very popular and would depend on you for power for the rest of his life? Napoleon? They wanted me to choose a king and I chose my brother. And then they betrayed me. Fifth coalition, Austria's back for revenge. Again, Napoleon smashes them and steals 20% of their population. At least marry a princess so we can pretend to be on good terms. Fine. You shit-a-stocking. I heard that. Napoleon is now in charge of nearly everything from Spain to Poland, but there's uprisings everywhere. Russian Tsar Alexander I takes one look at the situation, and considering what happens to Napoleon's friends, he decides now is a good time to stop being Napoleon's friend. He starts trading with Britain again, and Napoleon can't take that lying down, so he decides that what he still hasn't managed to do in Portugal, he can easily do in Russia simultaneously. But the Russians are wise to Napoleon's tricks. They cull the countryside of anything forageable. Napoleon's men are dropping like flies, and even when they finally make it to Moscow, well, at least it's warmed up. There's no choice but to retreat, and by the time he crosses the border, his grand army of 400,000 has been reduced to 10,000. And the rest of Europe? They like those odds. Within months, a new alliance was forged between Russia, Prussia, Austria, Spain, Portugal, Sweden, and of course, Great Britain. Finally placed on the back foot, Napoleon's old strategies are failing him. There are no vanquished foes to feed the war machine, no foreign lands to pillage, no way to force apart the Allies. All he can muster are Pyrrhic victories, but France has given all she can give. Paris is captured, and Napoleon is told he'll still be an emperor, but not in France. He's sent to the little island of Elba and kept under watch. In France, the Bourbons are back, baby. 20-some years and a million corpses later, it's another Louis back in action. The Allies are determined. There will be no empire, no emperor, not even a memory. If they can help it, the man who conquered half of Europe will have no legacy, not even as a martyr. But of course, they could never succeed. The HRE was gone for good, Italian and Polish nationalism were on the rise, and all across Europe, the seeds had been planted for the revolutions of 1848. Oh yeah, and Napoleon himself came back in less than a year. He steals across the sea in a boat with 1,000 men and marches towards Paris. He meets the king's men one misty morning and approaches them alone.
Citizen Bonaparte, on charges of insurrection. I'm just messing with you. Welcome back, big guy!
And this kept happening, wave after wave. Every time the army was supposed to arrest him, they switched sides and brought Napoleon right back to his throne in Paris without firing a single shot. The Allies scrambled to respond, and though France was in no better shape, things were set up just as Napoleon liked them, with the whole world against him. Before Europe could mobilize together, he would first cut off the British and stomp out his enemies one by one. But the British hold firm. Napoleon knows the taste of defeat, and for the first time, he hesitates. The Prussians arrive in time to rout the French, and Napoleon pleads, Okay, we'll give up the empire to my son, yeah? Or how about I go to the US? I could be a farmer in Louisiana. Please, I'll even take a New Jersey. Shoot. Guess it beats the guillotine.